What up? What up? Oh. Are we live? Testing, testing. Mic check, mic check. My microphone here, making sure the audio is okay. How's it going, everybody? How's it going, everybody? Yeah. It is Memorial Day weekend. This is awesome. Long holiday for a lot of you guys probably out there. Um, let's see here. Make sure my audio is okay. Input, audio device, input volume, a little higher. Okay, there you go. All right, so yeah, happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. It's a long holiday where we commemorate and remember and honor the fallen military men and women, brave military men and women who sacrificed their lives to defend our freedom. So we remember them, we cherish them, and we honor their memories by making sure that this country still stands for what they died to protect. All right. So none of that what's it called? None of that dictatorship, theocratic stuff that some folks, some small margins, percentages of folks are trying to shove down our throats. All right. Let's see. I want to make sure that I got my topics on my screen. All right, here we go. This past week, there's a bunch of news happening from the world of movies, TV, and entertainment. Oh my God, where do I begin? You know what? Before we get to the news, I want to talk a bit about the TV season finales. So the following here will contain spoilers. Okay, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! I'll be talking about the season finales of Arrow, Gotham, The Flash, and Krypton. The superhero shows that the millennials seem to be a fan or big fans of these days. So let's start with Arrow. I was so disappointed with Arrow season finale. Again, spoiler alert. Why did they have to keep Diaz alive, man? Come on. All that buildup throughout the year. I mean, I think Diaz started taking over the city. I think the last half of this season 6. So maybe not the year, but more like the past 6 months or so. And he was such a great villain because he influenced so many people. By influence, I mean like bribe them or bought them out or threaten them. Everybody in the city was under his thumb. Like, oh my goodness, like you just don't know who around you are loyal to Diaz, because any of them could betray or backstab you because they're like, oh, I gotta do this for Diaz, sorry, pow, and they shoot you. So Diaz was a very dangerous villain, a very effective one, and he was good at fighting, even though he fought dirty against Ollie. But he was a formidable foe. The same with Adrian from last season. But man, I was so disappointed when the season finale had pretty much Diaz survive that whole ordeal. A lot was going on. I was like, why did they kill off Quentin but kept Diaz? I was like, well, come on, people. Come on, writers of Arrow. Why did you pull The Walking Dead on us? The Walking Dead this past season also kept Negan and decided to bring Negan over to the new season after 2 seasons of like Negan terrorizing Alexandria and pretty much making Alexandria his bitch. And all of a sudden, because of Carl's letter, Carl's letter, that Rick Grimes like, you know what? Let's keep our enemy alive and try to make a utopia out of this somehow. I'm just sick and tired, man, of this repeated formula, repeated equation. Um, so I was very disappointed uh, in Arrow season finale. They should have killed off Diaz and got it done over with. As far as Gotham season finale, I really like the whole ending with, again, spoiler alert, with Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon on the rooftop by the bat signal. That was pretty cool. That was a cool shot, I admit. The lines that they said while they were on that rooftop were cheesy, though. You gotta admit, if you play that episode again, if you watch it again, both of them were like staring up into the sky, and Jim Gordon says something along like, "Let them come." It's because Bruce is like, "Wow, what's with the light? People are gonna come here." It's like, "Let them come." And then Jim Gordon says something cheesy like, "Because I will destroy them." I don't know. It was just out of a cheese ball manual. But that whole shot was pretty cool. All right, even though the bat signal doesn't really project an image of a bat, but it's a great premonition. Oh, I just got a text here. Hold on. Sorry, guys. I gotta answer this. This is very important from a family member, apparently. All right. So I want to make sure that she's okay. So that's how I felt about Gotham season finale. Oh, but I was so disappointed at Butch getting killed again. I was like, what the hell? We just had Butch killed last season. Do you remember that? He was shot in the head by Barbara, and now he got shot in the gut by Penguin. I was like, okay, what's next season? He's gonna get shot in the knee. He's gonna get shot in that whole part was like, come on, really? We went through this whole cycle before. Oh man. And Penguin's reason for shooting Butch or killing Butch out of spite because of man, I can't remember the top of my head. Butch's girl for killing his mom. But that was like, and when he said that, I was like, but that was like what, 3 seasons ago, right? When Penguin's mom got killed. I was like, really? And this past season, there were no indications of like, Tabitha. There you go. That's her name, Tabitha. This past season, there were no indications, bringing that up again along the way to Tabitha. So I guess maybe that's like, hey, Rama, that's what made it unexpected. That's what made the killing of Butch unexpected. I guess so. But like, we were so focused on this other thing with all a bunch of other subplots, and now he's bringing this grudge up from like 3 seasons ago. It was just like, what? Come on. So I'm very, very glad that Gotham is coming to an end with the next season, season 5 being its final season, because I feel like the writers are running out of ideas, man. They keep bringing back, the characters that were killed off before. Ra's al Ghul got killed again twice this season. In this season alone, Ra's al Ghul got killed twice. A bunch of characters also that, and then Selena got shot by Jeremiah. Of course, Selena's gonna be back, and Jeremiah is basically Jerome coming back, but in his twin brother. So I'm very, very exhausted with Gotham's formula of resurrecting, or none of the characters ever stay dead. It's gotten to the point where it's just too ridiculous. A fan, I think, of the show said, "Hey, Rama, well, Supernatural series does that a lot." Yeah, but I guess that comes with the title, right? Supernatural. We expect we expect things to not stay dead on that show. But man, all right, Gotham. I don't know. I think I'm gonna say it has to be slightly different. Otherwise, it's what it is now. It's gotten too silly. Uh, as far as Krypton, before we get to the Flash, in the season finale of the Krypton, I gotta say that its season finale makes up for a pretty boring season one. I don't know if you guys watch Krypton. It's the story of the prequel to Superman. It's about Superman's grandfather, on the planet Krypton before the planet explodes. So, let's see here. So, the bad guy, the main villain, is Brainiac, and it took a while for the plot to finally get to like the conflict at the end. It's just like it took a while to set up the context. It took a while to introduce some of the characters. So that's why I said boring, because there were some episodes that were they didn't even feel like fillers. They feel like, what is this? Like, can we get to the point already? That's what it felt like. But the season finale was pretty confrontational. I liked it. It makes up again for the boring season. Spoiler alert, it ended with Sag-El. Sag is the name of Superman's grandfather. He got sucked out into the Phantom Menace with Brainiac. So Sag-El and Brainiac are now in the same Phantom Menace. And Phantom Menace, for those of you Superman fans, is this place where basically time and space are non-existent. You could be stuck in Phantom Menace for like millions of years and never age, and it's actually just one day over here, or vice versa. It's basically a prison, a life sentence prison, eternal prison, if you will. So I like that twist, because now we wonder, okay, how is he gonna get himself out of the Phantom Menace? That's the big deal right now for season 2. And Sci-Fi has renewed Krypton for second season, so that's a cool thing. I do hope the tone gets a little bit brighter and lighter a little bit, because this season 1, I mean, literally, it's almost dark the entire time. I was like, I can't see a freaking damn thing. I was like, somebody turn up the light in Krypton, please. It's like, it's darker than Gotham in that place. The Flash season finale got it right. I think the Flash season finale is the best one, or was the best one out of all the superhero season finales these past 2 weeks. Because the whole build up to that moment, all the subplots that they lead up, they collide, and so much was going on. It's like, oh my God, there's this woman getting pregnant, but she has the power to help Barry to get into the mind of the Thinker. And oh my God, if we don't do this, this is gonna happen. If we don't do that, this is gonna happen. It's very consequential, and so you're at least for me, your attention was fixed on the screen the entire time. It was like, oh my God, how are they gonna get themselves out of this? Because there's so many intertwined problems, and it's amazing, because that's how you do it. That's you collect all these problems into just into one collision in the season finale, and then the key is to not solve those problems until like maybe 3/4 near the end. So that's what the writers did. So I was like, okay, there's all these kind of stuff, and we're not gonna give the solution just yet to the audiences, because we're gonna get the audiences to the point where like, oh, that's it, they're screwed. And then once the audience thinks that way, and boom, they solve the problems, and like, oh, it's okay now. Okay, good. And of course, it ends with Thinker the Thinker getting killed, and that's a good thing because I don't want to see the Thinker anymore in the next season. We're like, I don't want that Walking Dead Arrow bullcrap. So the Flash got it right. I think the Flash got it right. The first half of this past season, when Barry was in prison, was not my favorite. I think Brother Tyler brought it up as well. That there's that whole part was just, and the whole the way that part got resolved, how Barry got released, with the it's just, it was not cleverly written, I think, in my opinion. It's like, that's it. That's how you're gonna get him off. But I must say the season finale, redeems the show. So kudos to the Flash. I think that's about it. I want to say about real quick before we get to the next news. Amazon rescued The Expanse. So The Expanse season 4 will be on Amazon Prime. I have 1,000,001 problems regarding Jeff Bezos, but I got to give him credit for saving The Expanse. So kudos to him. I'm sure a lot of fans of this hugely popular, recently canceled Sci-Fi Channel show are feeling very grateful that Jeff Bezos is also a fan of the show. So if you are a showrunner or if you created a series, I think your best chance is to have big billionaires or big celebrities among your fans, because who knows, you might use that card or you might need that card when your show gets canceled. So congratulations to The Expanse cast and crew. You'll get employed again for the next season. Lucifer, nobody's rescuing Lucifer, unfortunately. Oh man. I'm a huge fan of that show, and I'm so sad there's not going to be any more Lucifer. But this coming Monday, May 28th, Fox is going to be airing 2 back-to-back Lucifer episodes. Now, these are not follow-up to the season finale. All right, we just had the season finale last week. These episodes are unaired episodes. So they shot these, or they produced these a while back, and Fox just never got to air them yet, or didn't get to. Maybe their initial plan is to just like put them in the as part of the bonus features in the Blu-ray DVD, but they decided to just air it. So if you're wondering, oh my God, are we gonna see Charlotte in heaven, or Amenadiel, flies back to Earth? Sorry, I just spat there. None of that's gonna happen, because these are episodes that were shot a long time ago, but just they were never aired, and now they finally get to see the light of day. All right, so that's TV season finales. The next topic is Watchmen pilot. Okay, let me read this to you real quick. Watchmen. There we go. All right, let's see what happened this past week here. Oh yes. Damon Lindelof, who gave us Lost and The Leftover, and HBO. Damon Lindelof and HBO are developing Watchmen series. All right. So that's exciting for those of you Watchmen fans, especially Brother John Corona of The Real Talk. Make sure you go check out his YouTube channel and subscribe. John is an awesome fellow, awesome reviewer. And he's a big fan of Watchmen, specifically the Zack Snyder movie in 2009. But this series will not have nothing to do with that. Will not have anything to do with that. As a matter of fact, Damon Lindelof this past week posted a super duper long Instagram letter to the fans. Like really, like it's lengthy. I after reading like 2 pages, I was like, oh, let me get the summary of it. Where's the Cliff Notes for Damon Lindelof letter, please? Is somebody selling that? because I'd be willing to buy the Cliff Notes. All right, so Lindelof basically said this, and I quote: "We have no desire to adapt the 12 issues, Mr. Moore and Mr. Gibbons, as in Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, created 30 years ago." Damien Lindelof went on to say, quote, "Those issues are sacred ground and will not be retread, nor recreated, nor reproduced, nor rebooted. They will, however, be remixed because the bass lines in those familiar tracks are just too good, and we would be fools not to sample them. Those original 12 issues are our Old Testament. All right. When the New Testament came along, it did not erase what came before it: creation, the Garden of Eden, Abraham and Isaac." Okay, pause. I love it how Damon Lindelof used pretty much the scriptures or the Bible as a way to explain to you guys that that his Watchmen will be different. His Watchmen will be the New Testament of Watchmen. You know, the Alan Moore and the Dave Gibbons one, that's the Old Testament, and we're not gonna mess with that. That's basically what he's saying. All right, that's the creation, that's the Garden of Eden. All right, that's the King David and Goliath and all that story. Okay. I continue, and I quote: "And so it will be with Watchmen. The comedian died. Dan and Lori fell in love. Ozymandias saved the world. And Dr. Manhattan left it just after blowing Rorschach to pieces in the bitter cold of Antarctica." So, yeah, that's. Before I continue reading his super long letter, it's very clear that he. I guess it's not a bad thing that he wants to have it both ways. That he wants to, dance between two lines, if you will. That he doesn't want to offend fans of the hardcore fans of Watchmen, but at the same time he wants to give you guys something new with that old stuff or with that classic stuff as the foundation. So he's gonna have the Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons world as that's the groundwork basically for him to put in his story that he thinks will fit the Watchmen universe or the Watchmen world. So this past week also, it was announced that Regina King, Don Johnson, Tim Blake Nelson, Louis Gossett Jr., Adelaide Clemens, and Andrew Howard will all star in the Watchmen pilot episode that Damon Lindelof is developing for HBO. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of his directors from The Leftovers, Nicole Cassell, will be in charge of directing the pilot episode. So now, I was not really a fan of the graphic novel. I know a lot of people said it's the most celebrated graphic novel of all time. I was not too crazy about the 2009 movie either. I read the Watchmen at Barnes and Noble one time, and I was like, okay, this is cool, all right, but I wasn't too crazy about it. I did not hate it either. I like the concept though of vigilantes and superhero or costume people pretty much leaving their imprints on our country's history. All right, specifically the Vietnam War, and apparently the Richard Nixon's presidency kind of extended to the 80s instead of Ronald Reagan taking over. So that was a nice concept, especially for us history buff. Like, oh, that's like an alternate reality thing. So I'm not sure. I mean, if you are not sure exactly how Damon Lindelof will play off the our history or maybe past history with his new Watchmen series, well, let me tell you what he says again here in his letter. And I quote: "The Old Testament was specific to the 80s of Reagan and Thatcher and Gorbachev. Ours needs to resonate with the frequency of Trump and May and Putin. May as in Theresa May and Putin as in Vladimir Putin, of course. And Damon Lindelof went on to say, and Putin and the horse that he rides around on shirtless. Speaking of horsemen, the end of the world is off the table, which means the heroes and the villains, as if the two are distinguishable, are playing for different stakes entirely. All right. So the stakes, I'm assuming, will be high, but it will not be apocalypse or the end of the world high. It will be different entirely. That's what Lindelof says. So we're not sure here. Maybe there's a MacGuffin, or an object maybe that everybody's chasing over. That's usually one theory, one possible scenario for a plot. But we'll see. All right, Lindelof says some of the characters will be unknown, new faces, new masks to cover them. We also intend to revisit the past century of costume adventuring through a surprising yet familiar set of eyes, and it is here we will be taking our greatest risks. So I had a conversation with Brother John Corona of The Real Talk about this Watchmen series for briefly, like when we met last, I think last month. Oh no, this past month for solo review. And Brother John said something along the line of maybe he's expecting this Watchmen series to focus on the Minutemen, the group before. Tyler just commented, "Sup, Tyler? Glad of you to join us. Hope we get lots of slow-mo like in the Zack Snyder film." Yes, that would be fantastic. I hope that's the only part that Damon Lindelof keeps for his new version. So it doesn't. So John, if you're watching this, it doesn't sound like it's gonna be about Minutemen or the generation between, the generation before Silk Spectre and the comedian. Sorry, I can't remember all the names right now on top of my head. So I think Damon Lindelof is just gonna try to come up with original characters, original problems, original stories, but set it in a Watchmen world. But he said that it's gonna be contemporary, right? Yeah, it says here contemporary. So it's gonna be Trump, May, and Putin. So it's not gonna be in the 80s. It's not gonna be in the past. I don't know how that's gonna work out. But it's just another reason, I guess, another way for Lindelof to say, "Hey guys, so that I just got you curious, didn't I? You think you got this all figured out, huh? No. I'm keeping. I'm not gonna show all my cards. So make sure you tune in when the series comes out. If whenever, okay, so I grew up with Superman, right? So whenever a Superman related series like Krypton or Smallville comes out, like I always get concerned. I'm not one of those people who are like, "Oh man, you ruined my childhood." Because I'm like, dude, my childhood is okay, all right. My childhood is just fine. I'm not a child anymore. My childhood is way in the 80s, and it's safe back there. So I welcome the creativity and the vision of today's filmmakers and storytellers to put a spin on Superman, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that I'm gonna like it. All right, I'm not too crazy about Henry Cavill as Superman. I don't hate him, but it's not gonna be. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm boycotting Henry Cavill." No, nothing like that. So if you're Watchmen fans and you're like, "Oh, Watchmen has to be this way and this way only," if you're trying to put new characters and new faces, you're ruining my childhood. You're ruining my Watchmen. I was like, calm down, people. Calm down. Your childhood is fine. Your celebrated graphic novels is gonna be just fine. All right. Lindelof is not here to go back in time and ruin that all for you guys. No. So he's just putting a spin on what is familiar. All right, so I'm curious to see it. I'm curious. I mean, the verdict, the jury's still out. All right, we'll judge it when the series is finally here. That's how I say about it. So yeah, stay tuned for the development of Watchmen pilot. Those are the cast members at this point. All right, let's get to the next topic. Jake Gyllenhaal. Woo! Jake Gyllenhaal. Woo, woo, woo. Jake Gyllenhaal. What's his famous line from Brokeback Mountain? I wish I knew how to quit you, or I don't know how to quit you, or something like that. uh, Jake Gyllenhaal, Oscar-nominated actor Jake Gyllenhaal, who pretty much kind of at one point tried to be a franchise star with his Prince of Persia movie. Do you remember that Prince of Persia? The Sands of Time. But it failed. It flopped like miserably. So, but I still like Gyllenhaal because all the roles that he had been taking on ever since Prince of Persia failed had been pretty good. All right. Especially Nightcrawler. Oh my God. Nightcrawler. He was amazing in Nightcrawler. I'm surprised he wasn't nominated for that performance. So this guy's very smart on what roles he takes. But now he's gonna try, to dip his toe in franchise to another attempt. Tyler says, "I wish I could forget that Prince of Persia." Right, Tyler? I mean, real quick. That Prince of Persia film was not even faithful to the game. Like, I want to see more of him walking on walls, but the film doesn't even have that, a lot of that, at least to my recollection. I was like, what? And the fact that they whitewashed the characters. Come on. You gotta admit. Ben Kingsley probably, because he's one of the co-stars, he can get a pass because the guy is mixed ethnic. But the rest of them are like, okay, Gemma Arterton, that's her name. And Jake Gyllenhaal, come on. None of you guys look Persian, all right? None of you guys look like from that region or that part of the world. So Jake Gyllenhaal's going to try again or make another attempt on franchise. And so he's in talks this past week. The report says that he's in talks to play the villain Mysterio in Spider-Man Homecoming 2, starring Tom Holland as Spidey again. So this is one of those news where do you remember when Avengers Infinity War came out a couple of weeks ago, how we were so saddened and so heartbroken. By the way, this video contains spoilers, so I'm going to say a lot of spoilers. So heartbroken when Spidey dies, and Spidey says to Tony Stark, his mentor, "Oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to die. I'm so scared." And then he dusts away. That whole thing is kind of emotional, that whole scene. But in the back of our heads, like, dude, Sony already announced Spider-Man Homecoming 2. Who are you trying to fool here? So it didn't have the impact that it would have had Sony not announced that Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is happening. But they already did a long time ago. They already announced it. So Spider-Man Homecoming last year went on to bank about, let me see here, $880 million at the box office worldwide. The director is coming back for the sequel, and the writers are coming back also. Chris McKenna, Eric Summers. Here's a fun fact, guys. Jake Gyllenhaal, this was years ago with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. Do you remember when Tobey Maguire was doing Seabiscuit? When he played a horse jockey in that horse movie. He got injured at one point. And so the production of Spider-Man was supposed to start, I think Spider-Man 2, was supposed to start at a certain schedule. And they were worried. The producers and Sony were worried that Tobey Maguire would not heal in time. So they were literally, actually, this is for reals, they were in talks to have Jake Gyllenhaal replace Tobey Maguire. At one point, Jake Gyllenhaal could have been Spider-Man. But of course, Tobey Maguire, healed up. And Toby also did Spider-Man 3, which is a pretty dumb movie, especially that scene when Peter Parker was dancing, prancing down the street. So anyway, that's another topic for another time. So for Jake Gyllenhaal to play Mysterio, or in talks to play Mysterio, it's like, well, it's coming back again. It's coming back again. It's pretty cool. Now, Michael Keaton already signed on to return as Vulture. So a lot of fans out there are speculating that Sony is going to do another attempt on the Sinister Six. Now, the Sinister Six, of course, is the big six nemesis or villains of Spider-Man. And if you guys recall, Sony attempted to bring in Sinister Six to the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. That was actually part of the plan. But the Amazing Spider-Man 2 crapped at the box office, and it was not well received. It was a terrible sequel, I admit. And then of course Sony made a deal with Marvel to bring in a new Spidey, a younger Spidey, and that's how we got Tom Holland. And exactly, Tyler says Amazing Spider-Man 2 is trash. Exactly. So the Sinister Six plan got scrapped, but apparently now it seems that Sony wants to try again. It's like, okay, the world likes this Tom Holland guy. The world likes this MCU Spider-Man. Let's give it another shot. Sinister Six consists of Doc Ock, Vulture, Kraven the Hunter, Mysterio, and Sandman. Sandman, of course, showed up in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. Wait, is that 5 or 6? Oh man, I lost count. Vulture, Kraven, Mysterio, Sandman. Never mind. But it's gonna be interesting because when it comes to sequels with too many villains, sometimes they can backfire. That's how it was with Spider-Man 3 and a bunch of other superhero movies out there that, it's like, oh my god, there's just too many bad guys, and it sucks. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 also had so many bad guys. You could probably say, well, Rama, Avengers Infinity War had a lot of bad guys. It's not just one Thanos. There were those children of Thanos, the Black Order. Yeah, but those guys answered to Thanos. They're not each of them individual. Oh, yes, Doc Ock. There you go. Tyler says Doc Ock. Oh, I was drawing a blank there. Doc Octopus, played by Alfred Molina in the Spider-Man 2. So it's different. Sinister Six, it's not like everybody else is, or Vulture or Kraven or Mysterio or Sandman. They're not answering to Doc Ock. It's not like Children of Thanos is to Thanos. Everybody, they all are individuals with their own egos. They need their own screen time. So we'll see. In the past, it has always been, it has always backfired when a sequel has too many bad guys. And I hope it doesn't go towards that direction now. Another point before I move on to the next topic is that we will also have to see how Venom does this October. Do you remember Venom, the movie with Tom Hardy? Because that's also Sony Pictures. So Venom is showing up without Spider-Man. So that's like kind of weird. I was like, can we have a Venom movie without Spider-Man? Is that gonna work out? I don't know about you, Tyler, but I feel like Spidey has to be in a Venom movie. But we'll see if this whole anti-hero approach works. I know Venom was some sort of an anti-hero at one point in the comic books, but I feel like it works better if Spidey's around and he's like battling it out with Spidey. And then there's also Silver Sable and Black Cat movie. So Sony is building their own MCU Spider-Man cinematic universe within themselves. Tyler says they'll probably mention Peter Parker and Spider-Man in Venom movie, but he won't show up. Okay, yeah, that's one theory. That's a possibility. Probably just gonna be, it's like, somebody's gonna mention the name at least. Either Brock or any of the co-characters. So that's it. That's Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I don't have any objection to him playing Mysterio. I hope it goes well, and I hope this is the franchise that it's gonna do well, at least for Jake Gyllenhaal, because he's attempting again, and kudos to him for trying again. The next topic. Oh yes, I have this next topic. It was so cool. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? James Mangold is gonna write and direct the new Star Wars spin-off movie about Boba Fett. Woohoo! All right. First of all, before we get to the whole thing, if you guys check the box office today or this weekend, Solo, A Star Wars Story, isn't doing too hot. I think it only made about $83.3 million. I got to double check again, but somewhere in the 80s. And that's not a good news necessarily for Disney and Lucasfilm. Tyler says, "Are we taking bets if he'll be replaced like Lord and Miller on Solo?" Yes, we should have a betting pool. Let's place our bets, guys, to see how long James Mangold will stick around with Lucasfilm. But Solo, A Star Wars Story is not doing so hot. Not a lot of people are flocking to the theaters to see it. And the assumption is like, hey, I thought Han Solo is a fan favorite character. What happened? Now, Boba Fett is also another fan favorite character. Maybe even bigger than Han Solo. It's a lot of cult following on Boba Fett. So I think banking on just that is not enough, in my opinion. Well, for one, though, with Solo, it's too soon. I mentioned this to John Corona as well on our conversation on our spoiler talk for the film. I feel like it's just too soon for a Star Wars movie. We just had a Star Wars movie this past December with The Last Jedi, and bam, we have another one. And on top of that, the reason why Solo, A Star Wars Story was a very expensive Star Wars movie, if you guys remember, they fired Phil Lord and Chris Miller, so there's production calamities, and so they have to go through extended reshoots, so that costs money. The last number I saw, the budget was about $250 to $300 million. Ouch. And they only made about $83 million this weekend domestically. It's doing better internationally, 148, but it's not nowhere near 250 or $300 million. And so, and the next weeks to come, there'll be more competition too. So I don't know if Solo will hold up. So Boba Fett, yes, another fan favorite character, just like Han Solo. But is that enough to justify a standalone movie? Will that give a return on investment, or will it backfire too? And I hope they give some longer time in between, after episode 9, before we get to Boba Fett. Not too soon, please, Lucasfilm, not too soon. As a Star Wars fan, I'm worried that we're gonna enter a Star Wars fatigue zone. I don't want that. I don't want to fatigue. I don't want to hate Star Wars. I don't want to get tired or sick and tired of Star Wars. So please pace yourself. Pace yourself. So, but James Mangold is the director of Logan, the movie that killed Wolverine. Deadpool would say that. James Mangold killed Wolverine. So he's gonna write and direct. Okay, here's the thing. Boba Fett is not a new project. Do you remember, guys? Lucasfilm wanted to make Boba Fett for a while now. A few years ago, they had Josh Trank, the director of Chronicle movie and Fantastic Four reboot. They had him to develop this, and they ultimately fired him because apparently he had his stupid behavior on the set of Fantastic Four. Or that's another topic for another time. So Lucasfilm had always wanted to make this movie, and I think they picked the right filmmaker because I think James Mangold is an excellent storyteller. But yeah, to Tyler's point, is James Mangold gonna eventually get fired and replaced by either Ron Howard or J.J. Abrams? Because again, it seems that after what happened with Solo and after what happened with Colin Trevorrow in Episode 9, when Colin also got fired, it seems that Lucasfilm has a certain, already set in stone, a certain vision of what they want their movies to be like, of what they want their stories to be like, that when another filmmaker comes in and suggests, maybe we should kind of go left a little bit, it's like, no left, right, you're fired. It seems like it's Lucasfilm's way or the highway, right? It's Lucasfilm's way or the highway. And a lot of fans could say, like, hey, that's how it should be. Like, if a boss hires you, you got to do what the boss tells you to do, But my counter argument to that is like, this is not corporate world, man. You can't expect a creative talent or an artist to just, okay, I'm just gonna be stenographers and not put my own spin, or I don't know. I guess that's my counter argument. I was like, if you hire Phil Lord and Chris Miller, you got to kind of let them do their thing. Otherwise, why hire them in the first place? The same thing with Colin Trevorrow. So I hope we won't get another drama with James Mangold being fired. It's not a good publicity every time that happens. Like it makes Lucasfilm, seem like a douche every time that happens. So hopefully this one will be kind of smooth sailing, at least. Of course, real quick, Boba Fett is a mercenary, a bounty hunter. He was originally played by Jeremy Bulloch in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and then he was played by Daniel Logan in the George Lucas' Star Wars prequels. That kind of somewhat kind of showed his origin as a subplot, because Jango Fett Boba Fett is Jango's kind of clone or slash son, raised as his son. So I guess, if you already show that subplot origin story for how brief it was in the prequels, that means James Mangold will have to kind of expand on that somehow. That he has to find a way to use that, as a groundwork for how he's going to introduce Boba Fett. But we'll see. I think I like James Mangold movies. I like his 410 to Yuma reboot a few years back. So yeah, I think he also did Walk the Line, I believe. Yeah, so he's a great filmmaker. I don't have any concern as far as filmmaking and storytelling goes with regards to James Mangold. And I hope Lucasfilm gives James the freedom or the creative license to pretty much mold and shape this fan favorite, character Boba Fett. That's it. Those are my topic. Let's see here. Okay, before we get to the last topic, I just want to say also later this evening I will be posting Rama and Jason episode 4. I want to say episode 4. Lost track. So basically, Jason Cordero, who is one of Rama Screen patrons, and I have been doing conversational podcast sort of thing on YouTube. So, and we simply just call it Rama and Jason. And last week we had to take a quick break because I think he was busy and I was busy. So we're gonna come back this evening. We're gonna talk about a bunch of other topics as well, and movies and entertainment. So, and I'll post that tonight. So while you guys are watching a new episode of Westworld, right after you watch Westworld, okay, whenever you're done with that, make sure you also go back to youtube.com/Rama Screen One to watch the latest episode of Rama and Jason. All right, two last topics before we end this live stream. I've been rambling too long now. I just have a few things real quick to say with regards to um, the not so fun entertainment news that happened this past week. With regards to Morgan Freeman, I'm a huge fan of Morgan Freeman, and you guys already watched my video interview with Morgan Freeman back in December. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for that man. So yes, pretty much I was disappointed at the revelation that he was a bit of a perv on the sets of his films. He would mess around with not mess around. I want to say kind of like flirt or try to make the assistants or the coffee girls or the assistant DPs. I forgot who what their exact jobs were. I don't have the reports in front of me, but something along the lines of he tried to lift their skirt, he tried to like touch them, he tried to like talk to them in the flirty way, like he's still their age. And I'm like, dude, that's not cool, Morgan. Come on. Come on, Morgan. You're God. You're God, Morgan. Don't be acting like a perv. And at one point, one of the accusers said that this happened on the set of that movie that Morgan Freeman had with Alan Arkin, his fellow Oscar winner, Alan Arkin. And Alan Arkin at one point told Morgan Freeman to stop. Hey, stop. Because Morgan Freeman was busy making this girl uncomfortable. And then Alan Arkin saw it and was like, hey, dude, stop. And I was like, oh, that's very cool of Alan. A lot of us probably kind of feel uneasy, right? Whenever somebody as powerful or as famous as Morgan Freeman is like, oh, that's just Morgan being Morgan. Maybe we'll resort to that excuse. But no, not Alan. Alan's like, dude, you're making her feel uncomfortable. Stop it. So kudos to Alan on that part. I know Morgan, the excuse out there is Morgan comes from a different generation, Rama. Back then, those, guys playfully would do that on the set to a bunch of girls, especially if you're an Oscar winner of somebody of that stature as Morgan Freeman, right? He probably thinks like, oh, I can get away with it. I can get away with it. It's just, it's just touching. What ifs. But no, times have changed. Times have changed. All right. And it's not about, being PC or not being PC. This is what I discussed last week with regards to Bill and Ted. When you watch the movies again, they would drop the F words, not fuck, but the other one, a couple of times. And so times have changed. The new movie Bill and Ted, I bet you they're not going to be able to do that, or they're going to, find criticism. Just like I can't say, oh man, that's so gay. No, it's like that's lame. And now we can't say to my fellow Asians, oh, you're Oriental. No, you're Asian. So it's not about PC or being PC. It's about being empathetic. All right. Just imagine yourself in the shoes of that woman or that young girl coming from, I don't know, I want to say Midwest, coming to Hollywood. They have this expectation of, oh my God, I'm going to be working for stars and filmmakers and producers. I'm going to be learning from their wisdom. And hopefully I myself get to be an actress or a filmmaker too someday, and they find out that they're being groped and touched. Just imagine yourself being touched when nobody, when you're not giving them permission to. It's like, it's a nuisance. It's annoying. I don't want to be groped. So, yes, times have changed, and hopefully it's changing for a way that we can put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. The same thing with the Harvey Weinstein that got arrested. That's also entertainment news. I'm not going to shy away from that. Just real quick. Hopefully, this sends a signal to other influential people in Hollywood, other, I don't know, big time producers, other head honchos or other gatekeepers out there that may also be practicing casting couch, the practice of, hey, if you want to get this gig, you're going to have to sleep with me. Hopefully Harvey Weinstein's arrest kind of sends the signal to everybody. It's like, hey, that's not cool. Women coming to the business to try to make it big out here, sleeping their way into a gig should not be a requirement. It should not, So hopefully this sends a signal as like, hey, that kind of practice is not cool. Let's make everything be merit-based, based on talent, based on skills, based on what you've got, what you can perform, the story you can write. So I think that it should go towards that direction. So it's not about PC or non-PC. All right, we can talk about that topic some other time. This is about creating an environment that's professional. So that's the lesson that we can take from Morgan Freeman being inappropriate and Harvey Weinstein's arrest this past week, and something that we can apply to if you guys are in the business. All right, last topic. All right, I promise this is the last one before I get on to filming or shooting Rama and Jason. Danny Boyle. The Oscar-winning director Danny Boyle of Slumdog Millionaire will direct the 25th James Bond movie, starring Daniel Craig again, in his 5th round as Agent 007. Shaken, not stirred. Now, I'm very excited about this. I must say, I'm a huge fan of Danny Boyle. And let's see here. The press release says that Eon Productions and MGM Studios are teaming up with Universal Pictures for the worldwide marketing and distribution. That's awesome. Production will start December of this year, and then the movie will hit theaters in the US November 8, 2019. But of course, it will open in the UK theaters, before us, on October 25th, 2019. So I'm stoked, all right, for a number of reasons. I love Danny Boyle. I'm a big fan of Universal Pictures. They always have me on to their screenings. They always invite me to their stuff. So I'm glad that they get to be in charge of James Bond this time around. I think the previous one was Sony Pictures, and I'm not too crazy about Sony Pictures. So yeah, but here's the thing, guys. Is it just me, or Daniel Craig's James Bond movies are just not memorable? I'm sorry. There are some parts about Roger Moore's or Sean Connery's or even Timothy Dalton's movies that I can still remember, or like, oh, that scene, or it's like. But as far as Daniel Craig's, I was like, okay, that's cool. It became $1 billion box office success, but they're just not memorable. Yes, Tyler says I like Casino Royale and Skyfall, but that's about it. Yes, Skyfall, it's just okay to me, Tyler. Casino Royale was probably awesome. Yes, it's my favorite of Daniel Craig's James Bond movies. Especially that one scene when, okay, so you see, now I'm remembering it. It's memorable. Casino Royale is memorable. That scene where the speeding car almost hits Eva Green's character. Eva Green plays the Bond girl in the middle of the highway. It's like, remember that? And then the cars kind of swerves, and it's like they swerve like 7 times. I think it made it even to the Guinness World of Records for the number of times that it swerves or crashes. So that's awesome. And of course, Mads Mikkelsen as the bad guy and how he tortures Daniel Craig with that ball hitter thing. See, I think Casino Royale is probably the only Daniel Craig's James Bond movie that is memorable, that I could be like, yes, that was great. Oh, that part right there. Oh man. But the rest, I don't know, man. Especially Quantum of Solace. Do you remember Quantum of Solace? Oh my god, that's like Quantum of Boredom. Quantum of Solace. Oh man. Why? Why Quantum of Solace? Um, it's like how Liam Neeson's character is in Phantom Menace. You know, Qui Gon Jinn. To this day, I'm like, I still don't know exactly what makes Qui Gon Jinn impressive or great or memorable. It feels like he's the. Maybe you can disagree with me, but I was like, he's the least memorable, least favorite character in the Star Wars movies, Star Wars franchise. That's how I feel about Daniel Craig's Bond movies, with the exception of Casino Royale. So hopefully Danny Boyle could put his own spin. I like his Train Spotting movies. I like Slumdog Millionaire. I like 127 Hours, you know, the one with James Franco. So it's a nice change, you know. After Sam Mendes taking it on for like a couple times, it's like, okay, let's move on to the next one. And I'm looking forward to Danny Boyle's take on the agent with the license to kill. All right, guys, that's it. That's my Rocking It with Rama screen. Oh, Tyler says, don't tempt Disney or they'll make a Qui-Gon movie too. Oh my God. Could you imagine if Lucasfilm announces that they're developing Qui-Gon movie? Oh man. The jokes, the memes, the fans are gonna be like jumping on it like crazy online. Just like when Ben Affleck got cast as Batman, it was amazing how hilarious some of the comments were on the internet. I think one of them says something along the line, "Oh, finally, we can bring to Batman the same gravitas that Ben Affleck showed in Daredevil movie." Something along that line. So yeah, Disney and Lucasfilm developing Qui-Gon would be hilarious. Hilarious. I would be there laughing out loud with you guys. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if you can support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. And if you are doing your shopping on Amazon, please use Ramascreen Amazon affiliate link. I'll be also launching the merchandise soon enough. So whatever you guys can do to help support this channel, please do so. I do celebrity interviews, I do reviews, I do events, I do giveaways, I do cosplay music videos, so many things. So I need all the help I can get. All right, guys, thank you so much. And thank you, Tyler, for tuning in. And everybody, John and Jason, and make sure you check out Rama and Jason later this evening. Let's rock this.